Hey, today I'm going to venture into the age-old steel versus gold nib debate, opinion, topic. I'm going to use for this to be the most scientific I can possibly be, which isn't very much. But I can at least use the same brand and the same grade of nib. So I have two Diplomat Excellence I. One with a medium steel nib and one with a 14 karat gold medium nib. Just to, when I'm actually writing with them and comparing and whatnot, so that they're as close as possible. Just going to cap them, just in case I get a bit of dry out. So steel versus gold. Yeah. So certain brands will offer the same pen, but with steel or gold nibs. Obviously, there's usually a charge because gold's more expensive than steel. Is it worth the upgrade? Now, there are certain properties. I say all of what I'm about to say, by the way, this is strictly my opinion as a user. No sort of engineering, technical expertise whatsoever. Let's just get that out of the way right now. So purely in my personal experience. Now, lots of my favourite nibs on my favourite pens are gold. That doesn't necessarily make gold nibs better than steel, because they have different properties. There's also, in my opinion, the fact that if a company's making a gold nib, you might expect whoever's making, tuning, fitting that, etc., to spend a little more time and care of it on it than a steel nib. True or not, I don't know, but that would be a reasonable expectation of mine. You're making a gold nib, you're going to spend a bit more time tuning it on the quality control and things like that. So that may have something to do with it. I mean, look, I wasn't going to do this, so I haven't actually got it prepped. But if I were to grab, say, some of my favourite writers at the minute, hang on 1 second. Right, sorry, just sorting my tray out. So a lot of them are going to be gold nibbed, right? So, well, handily enough, I'm in love with this nib. Pilot, fine, 14 karat gold. Fantastic nib. I did get it tuned a little bit wetter, but that's personal preference. It's smooth, but just nice little feedback. I've got a Pilot 845, 18 karat gold medium. Absolutely delicious, smooth, great flow. I've got a Visconti Homo sapiens Blue Lagoon, 18 karat medium, luscious, wet, smooth. However, I had this tuned. Picked it up pre-owned, and I did detect a bit of scratch on the nib, so I got that retuned. That said, I know Visconti have a reputation, but I don't know how that was out of the box. I have a Bronze Age, which was new and is brilliant. Fine, 18 karat gold. Fine, smooth, wet, lovely, out the box, brilliant. Yardled, 18 karat, broad, smooth. It's just like rubbing butter on butter. Sorry, it's a strange image. However, an Otto Magna Classic steel broad nib, absolutely beautiful, smooth, wet, lush. It's a steel nib. I think basically it's just about how much time whoever's fitting the nib spends on the QC. I mean, I think these are made specially for an Otto by Box, so that may be because they're speciality made and then they're on a luxury pen, maybe they've spent a bit more time tuning it. I don't know. But anyway, let's return to the subject at hand. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to write with these two just to see if there's any different properties from gold to steel with the same brand on the same model with the same grade. Right? Right. Excuse me while I angle down to some paper. Here we have some paper. So this is Clairefontaine 90 GSM. And first up, we're gonna do the steel. So this is medium steel, and obviously Diplomat. Now, there's a decent flow on this. It's nice and smooth. There's a hint of feedback, but not scratch, just a hint of feedback. So, wetness-wise, pretty wet. Sorry, the ink, by the way, is same in both, which is KWZ. Baltic Memories. So yeah, as you can see, pretty wet. Nice flow and kind of uniform feedback, cross strokes, downstrokes, etc. Both of these, by the way, are out of the box. I haven't tuned them or anything. Any line variation, a smidge, but really just a bit more ink. It's pretty stiff. Okay, but very nice writing nib. So if we move to the gold, we have 14 karat gold. Diplomat again. Same ink, so for wetness. Actually not quite as wet. I don't know if you noticed, but on kind of upstrokes and cross strokes it's a bit drier. So cross strokes, especially upstrokes, drier. Downstrokes, you're okay. It's very smooth. Again, a hint of feedback, but slightly different. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe slightly more toothy feedback on the medium, but just a hint, you know, just like you're writing with a fountain pen. I know it's a cliche. This is a bit smoother. I wouldn't say drag, but again, just yeah, just it lets you know you're writing with a fountain pen. Drag's too harsh a word, but do you know what I mean? Rather than kind of tooth. I mean, tooth's too harsh for that one as well, but glide maybe. Hover. For line variation, you can get some out of this. This is softer. So yeah, I mean, by the way, both of these, so the Diplomat nibs, sorry, they have, come along, focus. There we go. So they have no breather hole. So it's just that slit up the tines with no breather hole. Sorry about the focus. So I don't know whether that contributes. I mean, logically, it should be the same on this as that, if that was the case, which is why I'm using the same nib. But yeah, I will admit that these upstrokes being that dry does bug me a little bit, but then the downstrokes are really nice flow, and you can pop a bit of pressure on it, get some more ink down and maybe a bit of variation. So it's quite nice for if you're writing nice and slowly, you want to add a little bit of character on it maybe. It's not super stuff, I wouldn't say flex, but it's neither is it so stiff that you need to jam it down. You can do that with minimal effort and just get a little bit of line variation out of it. So they're the kind of differences there, which granted isn't a lot. It's more the dryness on the upstrokes. They're both out the box, so there's both a bit of potluck. So I could just tune that to be standard wetter, if you like. Now then, price. So, Diplomat Excellence, retail, UK, round about £130-ish, thereabouts, up or down a bit, with a steel nib. You go up to a gold nib, and it gets up to like 300 odd, so it's like you're adding 150, nearly £200 for the gold nib upgrade. Is that worth it? In purely practical terms, I don't think it is, if I'm honest with you, because the medium steel, well, I've got a broad steel as well on another one, because I like the Excellence. I think it's a great everyday pen. But sorry, the steel's great. It's really nice, well tuned. Diplomat nibs are have a good reputation for coming nicely tuned. It writes really well, to the point where I'm actually not sure which I prefer. They both have different properties. Maybe for everyday writing, the steel might be a bit better. Maybe for sitting writing a letter in your very best handwriting, the gold might be slightly better. You can put a little bit of pressure on it, add a little bit of character with the line variation. That said, not all gold nibs are soft. I'm working with what I've got. You can get pretty stiff gold nibs. You can get a lot softer gold nibs. It does depend on the manufacturer and, the gold quality and whatnot. So, what do I think? I think if you can pick them up at the right price, they might be worth it. But if you go in retail, no, I don't think it is. I don't personally. I wouldn't pay out the extra for the gold nib. I actually got my gold nib cheap on eBay. So I don't think practically it's worth the extra. Generally speaking, in a pen that you would pay for the upgrade. Some pens just come with a gold nib, so like the Pilots I mentioned, they come with a gold nib. There's no steel nib option. It's kind of, you're paying for the nib and then the pen body around it, I suppose, depending on the material. The other consideration is it's just that edge of luxury, isn't it? So, you've got a gold nib pen. You've got a pen with a nib made of gold. It's precious. It's luxurious. Bit of status. Depends if you're showing off to your mates, doesn't it? As I say, a lot of them have their own properties and they're absolutely brilliant. And I must say, it does. To me, it does. Whether it's luxury or snobbiness or something like that. You go, oh yeah, I'm picking up my gold nib. It is a nice thought. These are luxury writing instruments. It's nice to have that bit of luxury. If we're talking about purely performance, I don't think, certainly in this case, the price difference warrants it. Look, if you can afford it at any rate, then obviously, why not? But if it's a tighter budget situation, I don't think, I don't know, what's another good example? Leonardo, maybe. You can get steel nibbed, gold nibbed. You can get number 8 gold nibbed. You can get number 8 titanium nibbed nowadays. I will say the titanium is very nice. But it's all dependent on the tuning and the the orientation. I can't think of the word, but how the nib's designed, whether you get extra flex or flow, or you can tune any nib with a decent enough nibmeister to do what you want within reason. Depends on the feed as well, So I'm aware I'm waffling now. What I'm basically saying is I think with gold nibbed pens, there's a fair chance that someone spent a bit more QC time making it better quality. That said, obviously, I mentioned Visconti's earlier. It's got a reputation for having very hit and miss nibs. So even that's not a given, but I think certainly it's dependent on your manufacturer a little bit. Pelican have got a very good reputation for nibs. Diplomat do. German basically. German nibs, Japanese nibs have a very good reputation for coming nicely out of the box. Whether they're gold or steel. Basically what I'm saying is, it's up to you, isn't it? This is a pointless 15 minutes. But I just thought I'd chuck in my waffles onto the subject. It's like, at the end of the day, it's what works for you and what you want out of it. I find these both very enjoyable for different purposes. But would I have paid an extra £150, £200 for a gold nib versus the steel nib, knowing what I know? No, I wouldn't. But it's the beauty of the subjective fountain pen world. It's up to you, isn't it? But anyway, thank you for listening to my waffle. I will see you again next time, perhaps with something more succinct. Take it easy. See you later. Bye.